You can't just watch this video and agree with me. You gotta go tell somebody to do something. I was born and raised in Missouri, and as a Christian, I participated in the church life quite a bit as a young man, really from college on. And I was very engaged with the biggest church in my hometown, the same town I grew up in. And I started to see things in them. I was very involved. I was involved in like 4 different ministries, tithe regularly. But they had a budget, at the time was $10 million a year. And I got a job as the head of school of a small Christian school. And it was summertime and I was trying to get it ready. And I wanted it was not air conditioned. And I wanted every room to have air conditioning because the standard practice at that time was they went half days for like the first 2 weeks. So my goal was to have every room air conditioned, and I worked as hard as I could on that, and ended up with 3 rooms that I didn't have air conditioners for. So I reached out to my church I had gone to for 10 years, involved in 4 different ministries, stood up on stage and shared things at times with people, was very involved, and tithed regularly on their $10 million budget. And I reached out, hey, can you help me get 3 air conditioners for a Christian school so these kids can have air conditioning? And the response was that they didn't have it in their budget. Mind you, my oldest daughter, she was involved in singing at that church, and in the green room they had a guitar hanging on the wall. It was just for decoration. It's a $25,000 guitar. But $250 window units, a little too much for them. And my eyes were opened in that moment. And then as I continued to work at that school in that county, that's the same experience I got from really every single church I interacted with. And it wasn't just me, it was the prison ministry. It was really only viable ministries in there. Those working with the homeless population, that kind of thing. None of the churches were helping, none of them. I had conversations with the leaders of these ministries. They've spent hundreds and hundreds of hours just pleading with churches to sponsor them. $100 a month, $50 a month, anything. And they're all, no, we don't have it in our budget. And I bring this up because that particular church that I spoke about at the beginning, their budget has doubled to $20 million. They're in the town I grew up in, and I'm telling you, as a resident of this town from before they came and after they came, they don't make an impact on this town in any way, shape, or form at all. They throw a carnival in the summer and people enjoy that, but that's just to attract people to their church. That's all that is. But here's the point of this. I just want to throw some numbers at you. In the state of Missouri, there's 6,000 homeless people estimated. I'm sure a lot of those people don't let you know they're homeless. I'm sure there's a lot more that are just not known. So let's say 10. Shoot, let's double it. Let's say 20,000. Let's say there are 20,000 homeless people in Missouri. There's not. Estimated is 6. Actually, it's less than 6, where I just started with 6 because it's like 5,900 something. But let's say 20. There's 110,000 churches in the state of Missouri. And I just want to let that sink in for a second. What are they doing? 110,000 churches. If there's 6,000 homeless people in this state, and 5% of those churches, 110,000 churches, just 5% of them helped one homeless guy get up on his feet, find his way, find a job, find a car, get the help he needs, psychiatrically speaking. If 5% of the churches helped one guy, now I know there's people that a lot of these things are their choices, but keep in mind many of these guys are veterans as well. Remember that. And they're in their situation oftentimes because of the decisions they made. I get that. But they're in this situation where they need help. And there's 110,000 churches and there's 6,000 of them. All right, let's throw another number out there. Let's say there's, in the state of Missouri, there is 14,000 foster children in the state of Missouri. 14,000. So that means if less than 10% of the churches in Missouri helped one foster kid find a home, find some sort of viable ground to stand on while he waits for his parents' court case or whatever the deal is, waits for his mom to get out of prison or whatever it is that kid is dealing with, if 10% of the churches just focused on one single kid, imagine the impact they would have. Now I want to put this on a national scale. Let's put it on a national scale and on the entire country. Imagine the dent if 5% of the churches helped one homeless guy and 10% of the churches helped one foster child. They'd change the world. They would change the world within 24 hours. Now, I just want to let you know that money that they bring in, the billions and billions and billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars that they bring in every year, it goes to building buildings, it goes to salaries, it goes to smoke machines, it goes to potlucks, it goes to the children's ministry, the women's ladies' night out, it goes to guitars, it goes ultimately to the show and to please the audience. It's kind of like a cruise ship, and I know you've heard that analogy, but it really is. The budget of the cruise ship, it goes to the cruise ship. There's a crew and they're paid to entertain the guests, and the guests are expecting certain things to happen while they're on that cruise ship. But the church is not the church. And that's kind of the point of this. The church is not the church, because what the church of Jesus Christ should be doing is feeding the hungry, clothing the naked, taking care of the widows, orphans, and visiting the prisoners, the sick, according to the very last instructions Jesus gave before he was crucified, or the last teachings he gave. So, I just let that sink in. 6,000 foster kids, 110,000 churches. Now I'm going to do a little call to action here. If you go to church, ask your pastor, say, hey, can we help one foster kid? Can we help one homeless guy? If the answer's no, you need to leave that church. Treat it as a test. Treat it as a test. And if the pastor passes the test, well, then you just help the guy or kid out, and you're making an impact. Because you can't just watch this video and agree with me. You got to go tell somebody to do something. Because I guarantee you, if you're a pastor, do something. Stop doing nothing. Your show is, it's okay at best. It's an okay show. There's a reason why it's not on TV, because it's okay. And people come to your show, and maybe it feeds them spiritually what they need. And then they leave the four walls and you're done for 6.5 days. I visited the sick. You visited your sick. You visited those within your four walls. Maybe you're saying, well, hey, I spread the gospel throughout the nations. Do you? Or do you only share it with people that are willing to drive to your parking lot, park their car, walk in and listen to your speech? Because those are probably the only people you're actually sharing the gospel with at all, are your people. That's like if I never left my house and I just shared the gospel with my kids. That'd be great. But I didn't share the gospel with the world. I just shared it with those within the four walls of my home. And that's really all you're doing. That's all you're doing. You're just sharing it with your people. And they already know it mostly. Sure, you're feeding the sheep the spiritual thing. But where are they? If they are really filled with the Spirit, where are they? As I look around and you see all the need, where's your congregation at? If they're really Spirit-fed, where are they? I think these are important questions you need to ask your pastor. Very important questions. Any thoughts or insight on that, definitely put it below. If you like this video, click like and subscribe. Feel called to support this channel with Patreon. That link is also below. But the most important part of this channel is we take prayer requests. So please don't ever hesitate to send that in. Thank you for watching this episode of God, Family, and Guns. As always, love God, love your family, love guns.